It was 2:05 in the morning on August 14th. Helios Flight 522 was ready to go from Cyprus Larka International Airport to Greece's Athens International Airport. The flight took off at around 9:07 in the morning. At that time, there were 121 people on board, including 115 passengers and 6 crew members. It was being piloted by 58-year-old German contract-based pilot Hans Jürgen Mutton, who had a total experience of 16,900 flight hours. His co-pilot was 51-year-old Pump Soms, who had a total experience of 75,49 flight hours. Andreas Prod was commanding the flight as a flight attendant. 5 minutes after takeoff, that is, at 9:01, the plane reached a height of 1,240 feet. And just after reaching this height, an alarm suddenly started ringing in the plane. When this alarm was checked, it was found that it was a takeoff configuration warning alarm, after seeing which both the pilots were surprised, and that was because the takeoff configuration warning alarm rings when the plane is on the ground and is not ready for takeoff. In such a situation, both the pilots were unable to understand the meaning of this alarm ringing at a height of 12 feet. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, they thought it best to contact ATC, i.e. Air Traffic Control. Then they immediately contacted ATC and told them that the takeoff configuration warning alarm of their plane was ringing. Pot was telling all this to ATC when in the meantime, many alarms started ringing simultaneously on the control panel present in the cockpit of the plane, and due to the sound of these alarms, the pilots were unable to reach ATC. Along with this, the master question alarm of the plane also started ringing, which meant that many systems of the plane had overheated simultaneously. Both the pilots were now facing problems. They were unable to understand what was happening suddenly. Seeing all this, there was an atmosphere of panic in the plane. The crew members were constantly calming the passengers. All the passengers were having a lot of difficulty in breathing, so their oxygen masks came down automatically. Actually, when the oxygen level in the plane is low, the oxygen masks automatically come down. During this time, the plane was at a height of about 18 feet. Pot was repeatedly trying to contact ATC and tell them about his problem, but his words were not reaching ATC. And in a short time, the plane's connection with ATC was also completely lost. Even after this, ATC tried to contact the flight again and again, but they did not get any reply. The plane was now continuously going upwards. Usually, on this route, the flight takes about 1 hour and 45 minutes. That is, this plane had to reach Athens Airport at around 10:45 minutes. At 9:23 minutes, the plane had reached a height of 34 feet. After this, at 9:37 minutes, this plane reached the flight information region of Athens. From 10:12 minutes to 10:50 minutes, the Athens ATC, i.e. Athens Air Traffic Control team kept trying to contact this plane through radio calls, but they did not get any reply. It was now 10:45 and the plane was to land at the Athens International Airport, but the whereabouts of the plane were still unknown. Fearing something untoward, the Greek authorities immediately sent 2 of their best F-16 fighter jets to search for the plane, and within no time these fighter jets found Helios Flight 522. One of these fighter jets came very close to the plane to see what was going on inside. So this fighter jet pilot saw that someone was sitting on the co-pilot seat inside the plane. The main pilot was lying down on his seat and was unconscious. Then this fighter jet went to the back and assessed the situation inside the plane from the rear. But the surprising thing for the fighter jet pilot was that despite 2 fighter jets taking off right next to them, none of the passengers looked at them. They did not get any reaction from any passenger. Then at around 11:49 the pilots of the fighter jets saw that a person was going towards the cockpit through the cabin of the plane. In a few seconds this person was seen sitting on the pilot's seat of the plane. Seeing this person sitting in the cockpit, the pilot of the fighter jet tried to know about the situation by signaling to him. This person also wanted to tell something to the pilots of those fighter jets, but he could not say anything. Then after about a minute at 11:50 the left engine of the plane stopped working and the plane tilted from the left side and started falling down rapidly. The pilot sitting on the seat was trying hard to control it, but he was unable to control it. At exactly 12 o'clock, the right engine of the plane also stopped working, and the control of the plane was now completely lost. At 12:04, the plane crashed into a ditch about 40 kilometers away from Athens, and with its crash, all the 121 people, including the crew members on board, died. Friends, just imagine that moment when this plane full of 121 passengers would have collided. What would have happened to the pilots of those fighter jets, who must have seen people dying in front of their eyes, and they would not have been able to do anything for them? Well, after this, the news of the crash of Flight 522 in Greece spread like wildfire everywhere. A rescue operation was started immediately. The dead bodies of all the 121 people were searched and taken out one by one, but when the autopsy of the dead bodies of some people found in the accident was done, a shocking thing came to light. Actually, most of the people present in the plane and the pilots had died even before the plane crashed. So now the biggest question here was that when the pilots had died even before the plane crashed, then who had the control of the plane for almost 2 hours? So friends, we had mentioned a person in the beginning of the video. Flight attendant Andreas Prodromou. Yes, it was Andreas Prodromou who had handled this plane till now, because in the end, only his voice was heard by ATC. Andreas had pleaded for help by saying "Mimi" about 5 times. No. Andreas had a UK commercial pilot's license, but he did not have enough experience to control a plane like Boeing 737, but despite this he managed to take this plane away from the densely populated area. When experts started investigating to know the reason behind this incident, it was revealed that when the plane tilted to the left side, the reason for this was that the left engine of the plane had run out of fuel. But the truth of this accident was yet to be reached. Then suddenly an investigative officer noticed a button on the control panel, and this button was to set the pressure of the plane. On seeing this button, the officer understood the whole story. For your information, let us tell you that the pressurized button controls the air pressure in the entire plane. Generally, the engines installed outside the plane keep sending the air from outside inside as well, so that the people sitting inside the plane can get oxygen. Generally, this pressurized button is kept on automatic mode, and even if it is done on manual mode, the captain and co-pilot have to take care of it. Now to reach the accident, we take you to a day before the incident. When this plane of 737 was on its routine service, it was thoroughly checked and serviced there, and the people who checked it put it on manual mode and handed it over to the pilot. Before the plane took off, both the pilot and the co-pilot did not notice that the manual mode of their plane was still on, and due to this the amount of oxygen in the plane started decreasing slowly. Due to which all the passengers sitting in the plane started feeling uneasy, and when the pilots sitting in the cockpit heard this alarm, they started to know the reason behind it, but they did not notice even once that the pressurized button of the plane was still on. Due to this, the level of oxygen in the cockpit also decreased, due to which both the pilots started falling unconscious. All the passengers had got oxygen masks inside the plane, but the oxygen masks do not fall down automatically in the cockpit, due to which both the pilots fell unconscious. Also, the passengers and crew present in the plane, the members were also starting to faint one by one, because the oxygen mask on their passenger seat could provide oxygen only for 12 minutes. And due to lack of oxygen, everyone was slowly dying. The plane was now going towards Athens on autopilot mode. There came a time when all the members present in the plane died, except one person, and he was flight attendant Andreas Prodromou. Now you must be thinking that how did Andreas survive for so long? Let me tell you that Andreas was a scuba driver, and because scuba drivers are able to hold their breath for a long time, that is why he remained alive till now, but due to lack of proper oxygen, his condition had also become bad. But somehow he reached the cockpit and started trying to control the plane. But by the time he reached Athens, the plane was filled with dead bodies instead of passengers. Andreas kept trying to control the plane till the end, but unfortunately he could not succeed in it. And finally it collided with the plane, and all the 121 people on board died tragically. About 15 months after this incident, the Greek authorities presented a report of this incident in which it was told that another button was responsible for this entire incident, the pressurized button of the plane, because this button was on manual mode at that time. But even if the officials do not think so, the real culprits in our opinion were the employees of the service center where the plane had gone for routine service because they had put this pressurized button from auto to manual mode. But they did not inform anyone about this. In such a situation, either they should have put it back in auto mode or should have informed the pilot about this, but they did not do anything like this. Perhaps if they had not been so careless, then 121 people would not have lost their lives that day. So what is your opinion about this? Do tell us by commenting. So that's all for today. We will meet in a new video. Until then, stay happy, keep laughing. May God give you all a good day.